It's been well over a year since I walked into that field that day and found my RV with my puppies and my wife and the air conditioners and everything running. And as I'm walking up to the front doorstep, I'm so relieved. I'm thinking, oh, I'm home. I finally get to eat. I'm going to feel great. And boom, the power goes off. I practically dropped to my knees in panic. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose all the food in my food trucks. My dogs aren't going to be able to sleep here. My wife is going to be angry at me. And I had to find a solution. It caused me to go into panic mode where I started shaking and I started wondering, how can I solve this problem so that I don't have this fear ever again? I don't want to feel that panic of not knowing how I'm going to keep the power on ever again. Now, today, I can go anywhere I want, power free, and run everything. The solar charge controller that I use to run this shed is in the RV that's sitting behind me, and it allows me to hook up portable panels and control everything. Let me show you how I hooked it up. Let me show you how we can be sure that this never happens to you. Now, this is the solar shed. So in the solar shed is where you'll find my combiner box. I conveniently left open. Now, my combiner box here brings in all of the solar wires from each of the solar panel series that are on top of the roof. It brings them all in, and it allows me to combine all this power and from this shed and bring it around all the way around to the MC4 connectors at the bottom that run into this combiner box. Now, this combiner box doesn't do a whole lot except give me some fuses to make sure that I don't burn some stuff up. And then from there, it goes through a breaker and turns that power around, comes right back out, and goes out to the RV. So I'm going to walk you around here and show you. On the side of the shed, I use these membranes to allow the wires to exit the side of the shed. These are basically just screwed in. There's a hole in the inside, probably about 3/4 of an inch round right here. I sealed these on all three, the top and the left and the right side, leaving the bottom unsealed. This allows moisture to drain, humidity to escape. These membranes that are on these wires here, you basically push the wires through and then you tighten these down and it squeezes a rubber O-ring around them and makes a good watertight connection. I use the same connector down here to connect the electrical power. I just ran a wall plug in there and then I can unplug this. So this allows me with these MC4 connectors here, when I travel, I can just disconnect this and I can fold the shed up, close the doors, drive away, and not worry about it. Now, I also use these panels, these parts here, they have the solar wire on them. So I can either put them in the RV and take them with me if I have intentions for portable power while I'm out, or if I don't need additional wires, I can leave them here. And if I leave them here, then I can just disconnect them over here in the first bay with these MC4 connectors. This allows me to just disconnect and leaves this set of wires here for me to use to run the next solar panels when I get out on the field. So I can put a couple panels like right here along the side of the RV and lean them up against the wall, plug them in, and have that power. These wires just run right straight up into the RV bay, and they run down, and they connect right here and go into this switch. This PV switch allows me to quickly turn off or extinguish the connection. Using a PV switch is really important as it allows you to extinguish the high DC amperage and voltage that could be running through these lines. You don't want to just use a normal switch. You can see here I have the main PV switch for the RV panels. That's 3,700 watts that runs through two strings of 5 panels on each one of these. In turn, these come out, go into this piece of plywood, disappear behind here where the inverter is. You can also see my Life Power 4 EG4 batteries are here, and they also run behind this wall. So let me walk you around to the inside where the inverter is. Now, this is the guts of the system and where the charge controller will be found. Now keep in mind, I have 2 charge controllers. The first one is in my 6000 XP. Now, in the 6000 XP, if I take this cover off, you can see I have those 2 lines that come in here. And that can power that 3,700 watts that's on the roof. But what we're interested in is the smart controller. The Victron Smart Controller, which is there. Let's see if I can get some light in here. Oh, that's good. And you can see there that it's kind of buried in the back. I did put the box here so we could go over it, but it's basically a Victron MPPT charge controller, 150 volts input and 35 amps output. Now, that said, you can see here that it operates at a pretty high efficiency, and you can see the connections to it down here, where we have the PV wire coming in and the electrical going out. Now, that runs through this switch here and out to the bus bars. And those bus bars then in turn run back to the bus bar that connects to the battery past the fuse. And down here, it also goes on the negative side, it goes through the shunt into the bus bar. We've also got, in addition to the Life Power 4 batteries, we've got a DIY battery that's 304 amp hours here that it connects to. So this is what I'm attempting to charge or get additional charging power. The 3,700 watts that comes in from the typical solar that's on the roof is fantastic, don't get me wrong. And 9 times out of 10, it's more than enough to completely operate the entire thing. And I have gone places where I didn't have this extra power. But I can tell you, if you go to a nice, hot, humid place and you need a little extra power so you can run an air conditioner. Now, keep in mind, I don't fudge when I have my air conditioner. I run my air conditioner at night at 61 degrees nonstop, and during the day it stays cool for the dogs. So there is no fudging around, doing certain things or anything like that. So this Victron is a portable station that comes with me when I am doing the fairs and stuff like that. So this allows me to bring the charge controller with me. It's permanently mounted in the RV, as you can see, and it allows for very easily for me to just connect other panels in that area and replace the input that comes from this solar shed. Now, granted, this solar shed has 2,000 watts of power on it, but part of these panels are mounted sideways, so I'm never going to see that. The most I've ever seen come in from it is about 1,400 watts or 1.4 kilowatts of power at a time. But that said, it can provide up to 7 kilowatt hours a day, and I've seen it go a little bit higher than that. We're not even in full summer yet. That extra 7 kilowatt power is enough to make my ability to run this fifth wheel full time without ever worrying about running out of power, and not have to worry about where I'm going to get the power from. I can be in the middle of a field at a fair, or I can be in the backyard and have grid 5 feet away. Here, for example, I have grid 5 feet away, but I don't want to pay for electricity. I've got a pedestal right there. The only thing I've got hooked up to it is a dryer. The only thing I've got hooked up is a dryer, and that's because I don't have an inverter big enough to power that dryer yet. But I'll get there, and you'll see it happen.